long-term relationships, if you have to be convincing, because in order to, like the industry I'm in, if I just show something on a video, people aren't going to go out and buy millions of dollars or millions of the products. It's like you have to show it over and over and over again for a year.
Is there a contract for that? Like you have to show this once a week, or you have to show this?
I mean, typically, in when you're dealing with a company, if it's a long-term relationship, they're going to want to know, how many videos I'm going to get, how many post vertical content on Instagram. I mean, some of that is built into the contract, but I like to tell people, we like to do things organically, and it has to look organic. And we're going to always give you way more than what you pay for.
Do people fight you back on the organic narrative? You're like, well, we need you to do this.
They don't.
Yeah.
I've never had issues with it and stuff. And so it's always been very simple relationships. And, every time we've created content, I mean, everybody sees the value in what they're getting, and whatever they've paid, they've gotten, 10 times the value out of it. I mean, there's been some clients that are just more of a pain in the neck than other clients, but.
Do you use that data to like show previous relationships to your upcoming relationships? Like, hey, this is what happened when I worked with so-and-so.
I never, we don't actually say what companies we work for, but what's cool about everything you do nowadays, whether it's on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, there's analytics on everything and data on every single aspect of people's click trail and everything, versus the old school way people used to do. They would spend $50,000 running an ad in a magazine, and they would say, well, we sent out 200,000 magazines. Well, how many of those magazines made in the trash? How many of those magazines were even open, sat on a desk? How many of them people looked at 2 pages and stopped and then threw it away? There's no data to it. And nowadays, my email newsletter list is, almost 100,000, subscribers on my email newsletter list. When I send out an email newsletter, I know how many people actually opened it. Yeah. I know everything you touched and clicked, every impression, whether you clicked it and looked at it, whether you scrolled over it. And so when a customer is paying to advertise in a newsletter, I give them all that data and say, this is the value you got. And they can see that was valuable or not valuable. It's the same with an SMS. When I send out a text message, everything's tracked on there. Yeah. And we feed our clients, we feed them back a ton of data to show them, the value they're getting, that their advertising dollars is worth it.
Do you feel like you have a good understanding of the analytics and how to use the analytics to your benefit in like future content?
I wouldn't say that I do. Like I have a team.
Yeah.
That
they give you that information.
I have enough knowledge to feed the basic information to, some of my clients and stuff. And there's so many analytics, like when you're running ads on Google Ads and stuff like that. When you punch in the analytics and there's just, numbers and numbers and numbers and what do they all mean? I'm learning. It's a big learning process.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with all those things, obviously you have all these different brands. You have YouTube, you have Paint Life Supply Company. I don't know if there's any other extensions off of those. But at your busiest time, because we want people to see hey, the life that they may or may not aspire toward looks different, when you start to, when you get away from the glamour and everything that has now come to you years later. So at the peak of it, when, you had your children, you're trying to provide, what does a day in the life look like?
What time do you wake up? Do you have a nighttime routine? Do you have a morning routine? Is that are you just wake up and go?
5 a.m. to midnight. Was it just like a full day thing, like how you said?
Yeah, it's gone I was pretty.
We had discussed you do like a nightcap of whiskey.
Oh my gosh, it's yeah. If you think it's going to be the easy life, it's definitely not going to be the easy life. So, you can get, you can strike the lottery and put out a video and it could go viral, like What's Inside did. My channel is just organically grown over the years, like just slowly, and it's never flattened out. It's always just organically grown, and it's been a lot of work. I was running my painting company, the corporation, and the YouTube channel at the same time. So I would paint all day long. I would video while I was painting all day long, and video the guys, video me. Everybody go home. The painting group would go home, go to sleep, and I went home and I started editing videos. And
what do those paint jobs look like? Is that like, do you have one job and you do that for a week, or does it just depend?
I mean, we would be on. I mean, we were just bounced from day to day at a different house, so you're constantly moving. And I would just run one camera at that time and stuff. But the first 950 videos, I produced and edited the first 950 all by myself, and that was usually from. I would the day in the life. I would wake up in the morning. 6 o'clock, I would go to work. We'd be painting all day long. I'd get home. It could be 100 degrees, 105 degrees. I'd get home. I'd take a shower. I'd go ride, typically like 2 hours, 3 hours. Sometimes I would race a crit in the evening.
Where does the
time.
energy come from?
I don't know. That's what's crazy is, I don't know. It's like, I mean, how
do you use stimulants? Do you use caffeine? Do you just like,
or is it just having kids? It's just like forced you to get up.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't.
Or you just not even think about how you're feeling and you just keep moving?
If I stopped, and I laid on the couch, I'd fall asleep. And I just knew not to sit down. And I knew as soon as I walked in the door, I needed to take a shower and go ride. And that was just a big part of my life. And I was like racing at the time. And I'm like, if I'm going to be successful racing, I got to go ride and I got to train. And you just go do it. And so I go do it, and I got all these commitments. And then I was bound and determined to have a successful painting company. I was bound and determined to win bike races. I was bound and determined to have a successful YouTube channel. So after I was done riding, I would eat, spend time, with the family a little bit, and then I usually went to bed around 2 o'clock in the morning. I'd edit videos. There was sometimes 2, 3 o'clock. And sometimes the sun was rising and I would go again.
How are you just not like an anxious wreck every day? I don't understand like how you can do that. Like, I'm somebody that needs to like recharge. I don't know how people can
Need
just
my 12 hours.
And not to say I don't get 8 hours of sleep every night, but it's a priority to get to bed at a certain time and to wake up at a certain time.